and you're just like, we got to let him go because we have to sign Andy Dalton. We have to. And like, I like Andy Dalton. I know this comes off as me killing him, but it's like, one, you don't get Russell Wilson, you end up with not even maybe the door prize in Andy Dalton, and then you have to trade one of your best defensive players. It's like, it's not a good look. It's a very bad look. They're probably definitely the biggest losers.
But I am happy for Trubisky going
Yeah.
Buffalo.
Which I'll let you finish. Sorry, Luke.
No, I just say, for me personally, I think he deserves a shot somewhere decent. Not that he'll get a lot of playing time.
Yeah.
Is that the phone?
Yeah, hello. How do you pronounce that name? Is it Trubisky? And why did he go to Buffalo? They already got that there, Josh Allen. I don't get it. I'll hang up, list your answer. Goodbye.
Well, he went to Buffalo. I think that's a good landing spot for him. He will be treated well, and should the starting quarterback go down, he fits that mold for them. He's not got the arm, of course, but
he's a runner, right? He's a runner.
Yeah, he can run. I want to see that guy get a shot somewhere. I think he was just treated horribly in Chicago, and all he did was win.
And a fire sale deal for $2.5 million.
Yeah, again, Buffalo's one of the big winners for me. Not only did they get Trubisky, who at this point, maybe he's never going to be a great starter. I think he's a good backup. I mean, clearly, like what Lugs is saying, he can win. He has athletic talent. And obviously, you look at what Brian Daboll did with Josh Allen. I don't think he'll ever be what Josh Allen is now, but who's to say if he gets with the actual good offensive coordinator, because I don't know if he's ever had that in his career in the NFL. Maybe he turns into something better. But besides him, they added Emmanuel Sanders, which gives them a third great route runner after Diggs and Beasley. And then the big thing is, I know free agency sometimes feels like getting new players. They're one of the two big winners to me. They just re-signed all their good players. They re-signed John Flicano, Darrell Williams to keep their offensive line strong. They re-signed Matt Milano, their linebacker, who's a heat-seeking missile. And they also re-signed Micah Hyde, who keeps the secondary playing at a high level. So I think they're one of my big winners. The other team that was pretty much all re-signings was Bucks. I mean, Brady was willing to take that extension, which dropped his money for next year. So they were able to sign Shaq Barrett, Levante David, Gronk, and then they tagged Chris Godwin. I mean, those were all key parts of their Super Bowl run. So,
yeah, and I think in free agency, the Giants did pretty well too. I mean, they shored up some areas. Yeah. I just don't know about Daniel Jones as a starting quarterback, but so I was looking at today projected picks and things, and so the Jets are probably going to pick a quarterback, which means they'll have to offload Darnold, and I don't know. That will be interesting, but they'll have to get that done, whatever they're going to do in the next few weeks. So.
And T-Dog, you want to talk about Patrick Peterson, too.
Yeah, I will. But before I do, I just want to say some of my other winners. I think, speaking of what Lug said, I think the Jets are a winner. They got Carl Lawson from the Bengals, pass rusher. He was fourth in pressures last year, and I think he'll be better utilized by Robert Saleh. Not that the Bengals misused him. I just think they were so deficient of talent that he wasn't able to really be focused on. And then signing to me, Corey Davis, wide receiver for the Titans. He was behind A.J. Brown, and they have a low-volume passing offense. I mean, he had his best season last year, and he has 2 years where he's just below 1,000 yards receiving in an offense, again, that doesn't throw the ball a whole lot. I think in an offense where they open it up more, like he can be like a 1,100 to 1,200 yard receiver. And the last big winner to me is I think Washington signing Fitzpatrick to be a starter for 1 year gap, and it still gives them flexibility to draft a quarterback. Curtis Samuels, I think, is supremely underrated as a wide receiver, and also if you think about it, their head coach and a lot of people in the front office, they came from Carolina. They drafted that guy. So they know what they have in him, and they know how to utilize him. And they also signed William Jackson, another great defensive player for the Bengals. who's essentially a lockdown corner, who's now working with an elite pass rush. So,
yeah, it's I got to say, the whole salary cap, COVID, blah blah blah,
Yep.
and this free agency period, we've seen just crazy amount of movement. But I think most teams have bettered themselves and can walk away from it feeling like they've given themselves a chance to compete now.
I will say one team, and I love Belichick. I will say one team I think is a loser is the Patriots.
Yeah.
Their moves on defense were good. Like, that shouldn't be surprising to, or they feel like they're good. But you look at Jonnu Smith, who's a very talented tight end from the Titans, but never really kind of showed it. And then you have Hunter Henry from the Chargers, who is a good tight end, but he's always injured. You give a lot of money to both those two guys. Neither of them are, I don't think, great for the money. You give Nelson Aguilar a lot of money, who again's talented, but you overpay. And just like Kendrick Bourne, the fourth best wide receiver on 49ers, they overpaid for. So, like, they put all this money in these skill position players on offense that, I mean, I don't know.
See, I give the Hoodie credit for in the past taking some sort of also ran players and building stuff. Although Cam Newton at this point is not Tom Brady, but I think Cam is so humbled by what's happened to him in the past, like 3 or 4 years, that he will absolutely execute that offense exactly the way the Hoodie wants. And if you do that, I think you really improve your chances. And think about it, last year, their record wasn't that bad. A few little fluke plays here and there, and they could have been more competitive than what they turned out to be.
Yeah. No, to be fair, as you notice, I didn't slag on re-signing Cam Newton. I thought that was the right move.
Yeah.
I don't think there was another option that was available. He played well those first 2 games. I mean, you could watch him in those first 2 games, and then he got hit with COVID. He was not the same. It's kind of like a few years ago when Jacoby Brissett played well for the Colts. He messed up his knee, and then he looked like trash. And I just think, there's certain guys get injured and they try to play their injury, and obviously they shouldn't. But
I think in this case, that's the most damaging that COVID to me of anybody that we know of is tested positive. I think it did decimate him. So, and hopefully he's past that. And I'd like to see him, show up and play well. That would be nice to see.
And you, sir, you're no Tom Brady. That's right.
Exactly.
But he stayed on the same team. But what J-Boy was getting at, let's talk about departures.
Yes.
So who do you all was like the biggest departure? Like, in terms of like a big name who's no more affiliated with that team?
That's hard for me to say at this point. What do you think?
I think I
know where you're going.
I think the 2 biggest names that are actually, there's 3. I already said Kyle Fuller, but as much as I like Kyle Fuller, I don't think he amounts to these top 3 names. Patrick Peterson.
Yep, that's right. There you go.
I mean, he was an 8-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro. And just besides Larry Fitzgerald, he was the face of that organization.
Yeah.
And then just not only was a good player, you look at the career Tyrann Mathieu had in the NFL. He was a mentor to Tyrann Mathieu, who, if you remember coming out of college with some of the problems, issues he had, he was able to help get him back on track. And I think even Tyrann Mathieu would say, like, Peterson kind of saved his career. Possibly you could go as far as to say his life.
Plus, Peterson was in Arizona for 10 years, right?
Yep.
His whole career. Love that.
Yeah. Similarly, long, like 11 years, I believe, Geno Atkins for Bengals. Huge 8-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro, averaged 6.8 sacks per year, 9 tackles for loss per year, 15.6 QB hits per year. He didn't play last year because of injury for the most part, but God, to lose it, again, J Boy will know. Like he reminds me of Tommy Harris.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, Tommy Harris's career was much shorter, and he wasn't as prolific as what Geno's had. But when you have like that guy, and obviously Aaron Donald's the best version of that player, but like when you have a guy like Aaron Donald, Geno Atkins, they're always going to be disruptive, and like your defense can always be in games if you have a guy playing at that level. And then same team, AJ Green. For him to be gone now, it felt like he would never leave the Bengals. Like he was their best, and he possibly the best wide receiver they ever had, which is actually saying something when you think of their history. And just, it's going to be weird to see him wearing a white and red.
So what does that mean for our boy? And we'll reinstate the Joe Burrow fan club pretty soon. What does that mean for him moving forward?
Well, they better get themselves a good left tackle, because that guy, if he takes another big lick on those legs, man, I think that they should be more concerned with the offensive line than worrying about skill positions at this point if they want to keep Joe Burrow around.
Well, their one big, probably best signing is they did sign Riley Reef, tackle. And Jonah Williams, I think, played well. The problem is it was just Jonah Williams. So, and they have an opportunity to draft like a Penei Sewell or like Slater from Northwestern. They'll be able to draft like another good offensive lineman. I think you're right, Lugs. I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to fortify the line. So,
but Lugs, Joe could always get those what you talk about every week, mechanical legs. What the heck is that, man? What is that?
Well, I think of his injury as second only to Dak Prescott.
Yeah, true.
As far as major
severity,
licks,
yeah.
And you wonder about them.
Yeah.
I have questions about Dak and coming back. I hope that he's perfect and everything's good, but that was major. And Joe Burrow, that was major. So, you just have to. They're young men, but you can only take so much damage. I mean, you can look at players. The average back lasts 5 years. I mean, it takes its toll, period.
I think Dak's fortunes will be better next year because it's reported he'll change his name to Zach.
Okay. Going for a Zed.
Exclusive here on the Sport Weasels. Go ahead, T-Dog. I'm done.
I was just going to say it's better than Yak Prescott. So.
Yakima, Washington.
I mean, he could come out the yakety yak.
Don't come back. Yes, sir.
Cool.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind
if
it was Mac Prescott.
Oh, you're right. Actually, Lugs is right. He should change his name to Mac so he could come out to Mac the Knife.
Oh, the shark bites with such teeth. Well, why doesn't he just go with Sergeant Prescott of the Yukon? That was a good one back in the day. All right, we're done with that. What else do we got here? This is getting out of control here.
I guess going back to college basketball.
Yes, you had some commentary you wanted to talk about.
I thought it was a very, illuminating, but obviously this guy's very slick with the media.
Are you talking about Indiana's next head coach?
No, God knows who the hell that's going to be.
Oh.
Well, it's not going to be Rick Pitino.
Wait! Breaking news! Breaking news!
Rick Pitino. After their loss in the tournament, here's two quotes that I found fascinating that Pitino said. "I know I don't have to look over my shoulder and see who I'm going to have to trust and who I'm not going to trust." And then his other one was, "There's something that sucks about being 68. The great thing about it is being at Iona, being able to teach with nobody bothering you, just making players better." Who do you think he's alluding to? Obviously, clearly this is U of L. I'm asking you all because you all have probably better insight than I do. Who do you think he's actually specifically identifying or kind of
I thought he was at one point also talking about Calipari, but I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know.
Oh.
Well, let's be honest. I mean, the man would give parts of his body to be back in a top 5 school. I mean, let's be, Iona, I've said this before. The coach had to leave there because of cancer. He left a great team that had been to the big dance 4 out of 5 last years. So it's not like, okay,